Hello, I am MxRheyRhey and welcome to another Watercolor Wednesday. Today, what I will be showing you guys is a little something that I'm working myself towards in reference to a sort of style that I want to go to. I feel naturally compelled to learn this type of genre of watercolor art, which is urban sketching. But more urban sketching in a fantasy setting more than a real world setting. Today, I don't know what I will be titling this video yet, but today I will be showing you how I paint a sleeping dragon, out in the wilds or the forests of anything. And my process is going to be very simple, just like any kind of urban sketching style. It'll start with a pencil sketch, varying in light to darkness. I try to keep it light, but sometimes I just get too eager to get into the details. Then I will use just a black micron pen this time. I know in the last few times I have been using my micron pens, I've been using all the colors that I can. Because that's what I like. I like colorful outlines with a lot of my work. But this one I just felt black would be best. And then I will get to the watercolor painting portion after I outline everything in ink. The watercolors that I will be using are from Amazon. They're just the simple GenCraft watercolors. They're really more for beginners, which I am anyway, so that's not a problem. And it just, for me, it comes with a really large variety of color to use, and I typically tend to just stick with the primaries unless I really want to get into the purples, because I love the purple selection in there. And the aqua board that I am using is an 8x10, and I actually got from Blick Art Supplies online. I really am liking using aqua boards or any kind of like watercolor canvas that I have made or used, simply just because it feels easier for me to not have to worry about my painting canvas in any way warping. I don't really have to worry about borders with my washi tape coming undone, because the washi tape sometimes for some of my papers is too sticky and it'll leave a very felty torn paper border. And I also am having to paint on an easel more simply for my better physical health, because I have problems with my back and my arms and my posture and everything. So I know putting an easel on top of a drawing table that I can easily tilt to however I want is not the smartest idea, but when it comes to my side table that does lay flat and I should put my paints on, I actually have my recording equipment on there, so having paint on top of a keyboard that is attached to a laptop, that's my only way of recording any of the footage I have for you guys. It's not the best idea, so I do with what I can. So because I have to use an easel and look up and everything, just the aqua board and its thickness tend to be easier for me to use, and I don't mind it at all. I could use paper, like the books that all of my watercolor paper come in, and then I sort of feel awkward because I don't like bending my my paper pads and everything over. I find the spine of my things very sacred, sort of like books. I can't just break the spine in half. So aquaboard just tends to be much more simple for me to use and convenient and very, very nice, actually. This painting that I'll be doing today is actually going to become a print that will be available in my Etsy shop, either as you are seeing this or within the week that you are seeing this. So if you like this by the end of the video, my shop website is in the description down below. I would love for you to check it out. I would really appreciate it, and it helps support me in everything that I want to make a career out of. So I am rambling. That is something that I do very often. I can't explain why I feel the need to over-explain and validate my decisions in things. It just happens very naturally. It's happened my entire life. So I just want to say that I really like my concept of what I want to do, which is just urban sketching fantasy. I know urban fantasy is already a genre, and I probably don't play to it explicitly how it's seen as the majority of society sees it or defines it, but it's really a mashup of ideas that just fits the title for me of urban fantasy, like urban sketching of fantasy genres. Even though urban sketching is supposed to be sketching of the real world, of people, of everything, I don't get out much. Like this last year, I'm really hoping most of us don't get out much. So that's not why I decided to do this, but this just fits me because I'm not a get out kind of person anyway. I have been talking this entire time, and it has been almost everything of me and nothing of what I have been painting. So now that I'm actually getting to the watercolor portion of it, I can say that I really enjoyed painting this. I had to cut out the audio of everything I was painting because there was too many cuts and it would have distracted me. But the entire time I was painting this and sketching, I was humming, and that doesn't happen very often. I was so relaxed and in the zone for this whole painting that I was really enjoying the process so much. I really like, and I think I'm getting the hang of trying to build up my layers in watercolor. That was never something that that was something I was struggling to do in the beginning. I tried to get everything done in one layer, and if things bled, oh well, that's just what watercolor is supposed to look like, right? But it really helps my sort of focus when I realize, okay, I can start with this portion, but I want it a little darker, so I'll wait a little bit and work on it in layers. But while I'm waiting for that layer to dry, I can work on this portion, and it's just working section by section, layer by layer. I'm really starting to get the hang of, and I think how I achieve those layers is starting to come through a lot better in my work. A lot of colors that I really like to use it's funny, those are not the colors I gravitate towards outside of anything artistic that I do. I actually really like going towards the secondary colors, which are the secondary colors, orange, green, purple. Excuse me. I guess when I do most nature, green is the one that comes out the most, because greenery is everywhere. But my favorite two colors are orange and purple, and I know that clashes, and I really can't use that much in what I paint, so I don't, and it kind of saddens me, and I'm gonna try to figure out how I can get purple in things a lot more often without it being like in your face, because that's the one thing I think I'm scared to use my favorite colors, because I'll use it so much that it'll be in your face and everything won't work composition wise. Oh wow, that green does not look green. I don't know what's wrong with my camera, it just doesn't want to look green until I get close up. So, sorry about that. It'll look better by the end, I promise. But yeah, because I paint so much nature, I guess the colors I tend to go excuse me again, I'm sorry, wow. The colors I usually tend to go for a lot more are in the greens and the browns and colors you find in nature. Usually, like, the brightest color I use is a blue, and it usually strikes out the most because blue, I guess I found, is really rare in nature. That reminds me of something else, but I'd go on a tangent and I don't want to do that. I just found an article that said, hey, we found a new type of blue for artists to use. And I'm like, oh, hey, cool. And I found it, and it's so pretty. It's like my favorite blue now, but it's expensive, so I can't get it. What was I talking about? I was talking about layers. Yes, so the reason I like this piece so much is because I'm so proud of how I was able to restrain myself in waiting for certain layers to dry, especially with the cave. It's the biggest portion in this painting, and I was able to, even for me, I was able to see that I was able to get it to layer and look dimensional without having to really work with 3D dimensions. That's something I'm still working on behind all of the scenes of working in like 3D dimensions and different perspectives. Wow, I really don't know what to talk about today. There we go, now that's green. Oh, and I'm gonna paint the dragon now, which is gonna be a very nice wine red. Again, with like the nature-y colors. But yes, I've been told by very close people, anytime I've been showing the progress that I've been doing with all of the art that I have been doing this last year, that I have a very sort of child illustrator style to my work. And I guess I can see that when I say it's an urban sketch and I'm drawing things like dragons, that's not exactly real life, and I can see why people will be like, oh, well, that's not real, that's fantasy and everything, and this is exactly what I would find in a children's book, which I guess isn't not what I was going for, but I guess it's not necessarily a negative. A lot of my work that I want to do in the future kind of will be more geared towards a more mature audience, not necessarily in a X-rated or R-rated way, just it will be heavier themes and I don't know, just not necessarily things that children will have to, avert their eyes from, but I won't really have been thinking of children in mind whenever I make the things that I will in the future. But I guess having this kind of style isn't bad. There's nothing wrong with being childish. Makes you a little more, I don't know, happy. Children, or being childlike, tends to be seen as someone who isn't burdened by all the distress in life, which I'm really trying to be, I feel like we all should try to be a little less burdened with the bad things in life. Not necessarily ignore them, but, I don't know, have a healthy way of coping with them. And it's nice to escape every once in a while. I think that's why I like to gravitate towards fantasy in a lot of the things that I read and paint and research. I've always had a fascination with dragons. Like, always. I was convinced that they are just hiding from us because we are humans and everything, so they are just out there and we're not worthy of finding them. But fantasy is a nice escape sometimes. Sometimes it can help you even realize things that are happening in the real world. I think that's called allegory. But escapism and fantasy kind of have always gone hand in hand. Like, why do we do art or read or play music? It's to feel something that's in this world that's not real in some sort of sense. Not in like music isn't real or all of it is bad, but yeah, it's a nice escape. It helps you think of other things and helps you see the real world in a different perspective. And I'm running out of time, so this is my urban sleeping dragon sketch fantasy, whatever you want to call it, whatever genre this is. If you liked this video and my ramblings, please hit that subscribe button. I do this all the time, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful day.